Hello, everyone. I'm Irma Baker. Welcome to our show. As you know, we like to inform you about organizations and interesting people and things going on in our area. And today, we have someone I think who can be very helpful to us in maybe a way that we never expected, oh, even less than a year ago. But in light of what's going on in the world now with this COVID pandemic, I think our guest today not only is going to tell us about a wonderful organization in our area, but also give us some tips that you might be able to use. So let me introduce now Mark Grati. Oh, we practiced this before and I messed it up anyway. Gratiani?
Graziani.
Graziani. Okay, thank you so much and welcome to the show. Now, for everyone who's viewing, Mark is the president of the Wadsworth Toastmasters Club. And Toastmasters, you may have heard of it, maybe you haven't, but it's an international organization actually that helps people with public speaking. And public speaking is on a lot of our agendas now that we never thought it would be because of having to rely so much on virtual meetings with our families, with our friends, doing so much now by Zoom or FaceTime or any of the other get together type programs that are out there. So, Mark, welcome and thank you so much for taking your time today. And Mark, by the way, is an attorney in the area, and this is a working day for him. So, Mark,
Mhm.
welcome to the show and tell us a little bit about Toastmasters.
Well, thank you for inviting me. Is Toastmasters is an international organization that has been around since 1905. It was started in back then by a man named Ralph Smedley who worked for the YMCA, and he discovered that the young men at the time had needed help in public speaking, so he set up a little club to help them practice public speaking. And the club grew, and then he changed jobs to different YMCA's, and everywhere he went, he set up a little club to do public speaking. And as he changed from different YMCA's, it seemed like the legacy that he left behind didn't keep up with his enthusiasm for teaching public speaking. So he eventually made it to California, and he set up he set up a national organization to do public speaking, and it just grew from there, and it's grown outside of America. And now it's a worldwide organization to help people get over their fear of public speaking. It's the number one fear, as we all know. Everyone kind of dreads it, at least most people do. I did. And it is really, really the best place to practice public speaking and get over that fear. Whether you're phobic about it or you're just slightly uneasy about it or just want to practice, it is the best forum for that type of speaking.
Well, now, why do you say it's the best form for that type of speaking?
Because most people sort of stumble into public speaking. I mean, I'm sure there are a few people who are born gifted at it, but I was never born gifted at it. So basically, Toastmasters is a nurturing environment that allows you to practice the thing that most people fear most in a very safe and encouraging environment. You're allowed to make mistakes, you're allowed to screw it up, and they'll give you comprehensive and constructive feedback on how to improve. There's not the people there all have the same purpose. They want to improve public speaking. So they are all there for each other. There is no better place to practice a speech, to get criticism for a speech, and to improve each and every step of the way.
That is a wonderful vision and mission to have for an organization. And I noticed when I went to your website, and by the way, we will put up the website as well, so people can go to the both the your club website and the national or international website. But I noticed that there was a nice little video introduction to Toastmasters. So why don't we take a look at that right now, and then we'll come back and we'll talk some more.
Hello, I'm Stacy. Thanks for visiting Toastmasters International, where more than 4 million people have become more confident speakers and leaders. They did so by visiting a Toastmasters club in their company or community. When you visit a club, you'll find 3 things. Members give speeches, they take on meeting roles, and they have a great time learning. There's no designated teacher in a Toastmasters meeting. Instead, much of the learning happens by doing a particular task, such as giving a formal speech or fulfilling a particular meeting role. Ready to visit a club? It's free, and you can find one near you on the Toastmasters website at www.toastmasters.org.
You can really see the enthusiasm and the belief that the speaker had on that video. And that sounds, I'm getting the same kind of impression from you, Mark, that this is something you really believe in. And I'm kind of surprised uh, because here you are, an attorney, and you need to speak in front of the public in the court, in meetings and all that. And yet you feel that even for you, Toastmasters helps. Why is that? How did you get involved in the first place?
Well, that's a long story because I'm an old person. I grew up avoiding public speaking. I never had an opportunity to do it. I made it through high school without doing it. I made it through 4 years of the Marine Corps without doing it. And then when I went to college after I got out of the Marine Corps, my degree, my undergraduate degree is in science. So basically I had 5 years of science and mathematics. And I didn't really have the opportunity in college to speak in public either. Now, there was no traumatic event or anything that made me afraid of public speaking. I just grew to be comfortable not doing it. And it's been said that everyone should pick the thing they fear the most and try it, and just to get over that fear. And fast forward a whole lot of years later, I decided to go back and get my MBA. And so as soon as I stepped back into college, I realized that I would have to put on presentations to get an MBA. So all of a sudden I had this dread, oh no, I have to speak in public. I have to give presentations. I have to think on my feet. I may have to field questions. And it became sort of just an uncomfortable situation for me. Now, this was long before I ever became an attorney. So I was in the master's program and I realized that the number one thing I feared, just as an overall just quiet little dread in my life, was to get in front of a group of people and speak. So I decided, well, I'm going to tackle that problem. So in 2010, I joined Toastmasters for the first time, and my only regret is I hadn't done it 20 years sooner, because immediately I was welcomed into this group and I got the opportunity to stand up in front of a group of people, be uncomfortable, fumble through a speech, and yet I was welcomed for that because each and every one of these people was in the exact same boat. They may not have had a phobia about public speaking, but they were uncomfortable with it. So they each wanted to grow and they wanted to help me grow as well. So after that, once I went to law school, I realized the need was ever more critical that I be able to speak. Because if you've ever thought about standing in front of a jury and a judge and giving an opening argument, it's pretty daunting to have all those eyes looking at you and to have everything about the case hinging upon each and every word that comes out of your mouth. And so it becomes sort of a mental vapor lock, I guess, because all of a sudden your brain and your mouth get disconnected and you're not speaking coherently. So the need was ever more growing in my life to be able to speak publicly. So I joined in 2010, and then I was in law school, so I was busy for a while, but then I rejoined after I got out of law school, and I've been there ever since. And I can only say that my improvements in public speaking have solely been based on Toastmasters.
That's quite an endorsement of the organization. Well, what was it like going into that first meeting?
Well, because I had been doing some presentations in my master's program, I wasn't terribly worried about giving a public speech. but I was more worried about screwing up in front of the public, than fumbling through anything. But being in front of a new group of people, some new faces, there is that slight little hesitation that, oh, I don't want to make a fool of myself, even though this is the very forum that I should make a fool out of myself, because that's the way to learn. So, but to get up in the first time and to say, hi, my name is Mark and I'm visiting Toastmasters and I want to learn to speak better in public and to articulate my words better. And they were very, very welcoming that first day. Everyone came up and talked to me afterward. They invited me into the group and they were all there to support me. And I really appreciate that.
So even though you were a stranger, just somebody who came in to a meeting and they welcomed you.
Absolutely. Yes. We welcome visitors. People that they may be just traveling to see family and they just want to stop in and say hi and maybe talk about themselves and where they come from and where they've been. Visitors are always welcome at Toastmasters.
Well, if somebody wanted to do that, where do you have your meetings and how does somebody even get involved?
Before the coronavirus hit, we had the meetings every first, third, and fifth Tuesdays at the library, Wadsworth Public Library. And the meetings ran from 6:45 until 8 o'clock. Now, after the coronavirus hit, the library closed, so we started doing them on Zoom. So currently, we're still doing them on Zoom because the library has not opened yet to having group meetings there.
So, well, that's a public facility. And then I'm imagining there is no fee to be in Toastmasters. Can you just come to a club meeting?
There's no fee to be a visitor. You can visit all you want. But to actually join Toastmasters and get the magazine in the mail and things like that, there is a fee.
Okay, is it a very expensive fee?
No, the fees for Wadsworth Toastmasters are $50 per every 6 months. Now, 45 of that goes to Toastmasters International for the magazine and everything. And the $5 left over goes to the club because we have a Christmas party every year and we buy little trinkets and things like that to hand out.
So it's not a big investment in money, but it is a big investment in personal development.
Absolutely, it is. For $50 for 6 months, that's a pretty good deal. And you get to come every 2 weeks and listen to speeches and learn and have the opportunity to give speeches and think on your feet and develop the skills that everybody really needs in today's work environment.
It certainly is a skill that everyone needs today. And what actually goes on at a meeting?
Well, we start every meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance and we talk about business, just the business of running the club. But on average, every meeting consists of 2 speeches, 2 speech evaluations, and a little program we have called Table Topics. And Table Topics are the opportunity to give a very small, impromptu speech based upon something you don't know anything about. There's no idea of what the topic is before you volunteer. So for 1 to 2 minutes, you have to speak on your feet about something you don't know anything about.
Oh, that sounds like it could be, well, definitely fun, maybe more fun for the audience than for the person who's suddenly up there. What are some of the topics? What kind of things have come up?
It can be anything and everything. At each meeting, various club members have roles. Sometimes you're a speaker, sometimes you're the Toastmaster, sometimes you're the timer. In every meeting also we have a person called a grammarian, which they present a word of the day to use in the club, in the meeting, some new word that helps to flesh out your lexicon. And so each person has a role, and one of those roles is to be table topics master. And it's your job to come up with any kind of challenging topics you want. Sometimes they're fun, sometimes they're jokey, sometimes they're serious, sometimes they're philosophical. But you have no idea, and everyone else doesn't have any idea what the topics are until it's given to you. Most of the time they'll say pick a number between 1 and 10, and you pick a number, and that's the topic you get.
Oh, so there might be a selection of topics and you just don't know which one is going to come up.
Yes, they can be theme topics. They can all be esoteric topics. I mean, it's anything and everything, whatever the table topics master wants.
So for somebody to visit a meeting, do they need to register in advance, or can they just go to the library on that? I noticed that on your website you have the schedule of all the meetings. In the case now, though, with the coronavirus, how do people get in a meeting now?
The best way is to go to the Wadsworth Club's website and put your information in, and I'll respond. And we have a couple different people who will respond, give you all the information you need, how to log in with Zoom, all the passcodes and things like that. And that's all you have to do. And you don't have to pre-register or anything like that. You just have to show up at the meeting, and you're welcome. And you can talk about yourself and see what happens at a Toastmasters meeting. And one of the good things about doing them on Zoom is we are now worldwide. And so someone in another state could join the Wadsworth Toastmasters Club. And whether it's a family member or just wants to hear a speech or whatever the case is, you can be anywhere in the world on the internet and log on and attend a meeting.
That's one of the marvelous things about Zoom. And I don't know if our viewers are aware or not, but we're actually recording this interview via Zoom. And I know it's been a learning experience for me how to manage it. The first time I did an interview with someone for it, I didn't realize till after that I had been swiveling in my chair the whole time. So this time I made sure that I'm sitting here on a chair that doesn't swivel. But I suppose those are little things that you do learn about public speaking. That what are some of the tips that you can give us about public speaking?
Well, the best tip that I can give is to just try it. Just never pass up an opportunity to improve yourself. And 10 years ago or 20 years ago, if you had asked me to get up in public and speak, I would have come up with every excuse I could think of to get out of it, because I just didn't want to do it. And now I look for the opportunity to give a speech in public. I'm still not comfortable or suave in front of an audience, but it's a learning process. It's a journey. And so each and every time I give a speech, I do a little bit better. And I critique myself. I ask others for critiques. Say, you could have done this a little better. You could speak a little louder. You could speak a little slower, whatever the case is. And then that just makes it that much better for the next time around. So the very first piece of advice I would give is just try it. Just come to a meeting, stand up and introduce yourself. That's all you have to do. And tell us a little bit about your background, where you come from, and just get your feet wet. And from there, it just snowballs until you improve, and the sky's the limit with Toastmasters.
And that works on Zoom too. So if somebody wants to attend your meeting, they look up when the next meeting is, and you said that they email or somehow get in touch with you to be invited to the meeting?
Yes, there's a contact form on the website, so you have to do is fill out information, and I or numerous other people will respond to it immediately and invite you to a meeting, and we can answer any questions that you have, how it all works, and just have a good time about it.
Well, it sounds like a lot of fun. Have there been any really funny experiences that you've had with public speaking?
I don't know about but one of the things I appreciate about Toastmasters is you never know what kind of speech you're going to get. And people come from all different backgrounds. They have different kinds of families. Some are more rural, some are more urban, some are more professional, some are not. And the range of speeches that you get is just truly staggering. I personally have given speeches on astronomy and electricity, and I haven't done any on the law profession yet because I don't want to bore anybody, but it is just amazing at the things you can learn from somebody else's point of view, just in a 5 to 7 minute speech. And anything and everything, UFOs, science fiction movies, gardening, you name it, and you can give a speech on it. And that's probably the most intellectually engaging aspect of Toastmasters. You get to sit there for 5 to 7 minutes and listen to a speech on a topic you have no idea about, and you get to learn from that.
Oh, now you just brought up something very interesting. You said 5 to 7 minutes. I'm
Correct.
thinking that maybe some of our viewers are thinking, oh, a speech, that's got to be 20, 30 minutes. I'd never talk that long. And yet, what you're saying is these speeches, when you join a Toastmasters club, these speeches that you need to do, these practice speeches, are maybe 5 to 7 minutes.
Yes, a standard Toastmasters speech is 5 to 7 minutes. The icebreaker speech, the
I
first,
think we just broke some ice right there.
yes, I just dropped the mouse on the floor. Yes, Toastmasters, you can give any speech at any time, but to make it comfortable for people, the first speech they call an icebreaker, and it's not even 5 to 7 minutes, it's 4 to 6 minutes, and to talk about your most familiar subject, which is yourself. So you get up, your first speech is your icebreaker. You talk for 4 to 6 minutes about yourself, where you came from, where you grew up, what your likes and dislikes are, and that's it. And all of a sudden, you just did your first speech. The standard speeches are 5 to 7 minutes, depending on what they are, but they can be longer, but you don't have to make them longer. Some people will have especially complex topics, so they'll go 8 to 10. Some people have a presentation that they have to do at work, say a 20-minute presentation for something in their job. So you can bring that speech to Toastmasters and do it in front of the club. So nobody is constrained by the time. It's just anything and everything that you want. Most of my speeches run long, so I tend to always go 8 to 10. But I've had other people give them 15, 20 minutes.
Well, the flexibility is really appealing. Again, I think that, as you mentioned before, public speaking is something that so many people dread. And yet, as you're describing it, this is in a very welcoming environment. It's about things you know about and that you maybe feel some enthusiasm about. Would that pretty much bring it together?
Very much so. Everyone there is very welcoming and very encouraging, and this is the safest environment for you to practice public speaking in.
Well, I really hope that some of our viewers will take advantage of this. And now you said that your meetings are every essentially every 2 weeks, the second, third, and if there's a fifth Tuesday in a month, you have a meeting then too. Do people
Correct.
have to come to every meeting?
No, some people travel for work, some people are traveling in town, so you can come to all of them. You can come to whatever suits your schedule.
Well, that works out very well. And now for the people at home with the Zoom meetings, it sounds like just the things you've talked about now are things that maybe will make them more comfortable with their own Zoom or FaceTime. Are there things that you could say if somebody, the holidays are coming and it's going to be hard. People aren't going to be able to get together. There are going to be more and more of these virtual get-togethers. How can you help people be comfortable in front of their computer screen or their smartphone or their tablet, whatever device they're using? What
Yes.
can make it better?
Basically, what I would say is for the older people that aren't used to using technology, for young people, it's fine. They use Facebook and all that stuff. So they're very comfortable with it automatically. But for older people, this is a great resource to learn how to use. I had to be a fast student of it after the coronavirus hit because I really hadn't used Zoom very much. So I had to learn really quickly how to use it. But it's a very simple platform, and it's very user friendly and allows you to be in the privacy of your own home. And for people who are sick of social distancing, this gives an opportunity to people to interact with people who may be far away, and to just get that social interaction that they've been missing for the last 6 months.
Oh, it certainly is opening up the opportunity. I'm so glad that we have these formats to get together with people. I'm I'm just so astounded by the difference between the resources that we have today compared with the pandemic of 100 years ago, and all the challenges that were so much greater then than they are now. So we are very glad to have these kinds of formats. And I thank you very, very much for being with us today. Can you believe that our time is already running out? It just goes so fast. But Mark, it's been a pleasure having you with us. And I hope that many people will go to the Toastmaster website. And let's see, do I have that somewhere here? Yes, I do. It's wadsworth.toastmastersclubs.org. And I would imagine if somebody goes online and just does a search for Wadsworth Toastmasters, they'll find it through that.
That's one way, or you can go to Toastmasters International, the toastmasters.org website, and at the top on the right, it says find a club. So all you have to do is type in your zip code, and all the clubs in the area will show up.
Oh, that's even easier. So much easier. So I really appreciate you taking the time today. And I'm sure that what we've talked about today will help people and maybe make their holidays a little more relaxed, a little less stressful, because now it's just, you've made it just so clear that public speaking isn't something to dread. It's something you can have fun and really enjoy. So thank you so much, Mark. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in today to our RSVP. Thank you and have a wonderful day.